years ago, so he's got a lot invested in this. So whether he goes on the solar is whether we encourage the project he's presenting today. But I'll just give you my opinion. Again, Sean Hamilton, 538 Bailey Road, before you ask me in the back. I'll give you my opinion. I would rather take my chances on local sources for wood, because 50% of you in this room probably burn wood as we speak, than give my chances to OPEC. That would be my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Penny? Oh, Penny? No. I think you're all set, Mr. Kennedy.
Hi. Penny Perini, 150 Hubbardston Road. Just two quick statements. You had mentioned propane. Well, have you done any kind of studies about the increases in propane that used to be ridiculously cheap, and now it's outrageously high, according to the oil? And then also you said you've been in existence or doing things for like 5 to 7 years. How can you possibly know that the boiler is going to last 25 or 30 years? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Penny.
With respect to the propane, this is just for a backup system, but primary source of heat for the potable hot water. And what was the percentage of possible 15% or less would be using propane, and that's only in the shoulder seasons for heat when it's the more optimal opportunity. With respect to the life expectancy, this is a far older technology than conventional and high efficiency oil-fired or even natural gas boilers. So these are facilities that have dated back a century, powering mills and factories, et cetera. And in fact, the type of equipment that would be installed here is commercial grade. This is very industrial, heavy-duty type equipment, not to be comparable to, say, your boiler or furnace at home.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. O'Brien.
I'd just like to move the question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. O'Brien. There's been motion to move the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Okay, at this moment we're going to take a vote. All of those who are in favor of this system and they're against it, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed? I believe the ayes have it. The motion is passed at 12:21 p.m. Thank you very, very, very much. And now, before I go any further, I want to stand corrected and apologize to Mr. Sandin and the residents of the town of Phillipston, because I heard earlier when I said that the school is paid for by the state in Templeton, it was also paid for by Phillipston, and I did not want to leave them out. Thank you, Mr. Sandin, and you Phillipston people, you're doing a fine job over there. Article 6, please.
Yep. Mr. Moderator, move that $500,000 be hereby appropriated for the purpose of paying costs of the feasibility study schematic design work ahead for the Templeton Center Elementary School located at 17 South Road in Templeton, Mass., including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto, and for which the town may be eligible for a grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority. Said amount to be expended under the direction of the Templeton Elementary School Building Committee. To meet this appropriation, the Narragansett Regional School District, with the approval of the Templeton Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow said amount under and pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, or pursuant to any other enabling authority. The town acknowledges that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA, and any costs the town incurs in excess of any grant approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the town. And further, that the appropriation hereunder shall be subject to and contingent upon an affirmative vote of the town to exempt the amounts required for the payment of interest and principal on said borrowing from the limitation on taxes imposed by Mass General Law 59, Section 21C, Proposition 2.5. and that the amount of borrowing authorized pursuant to this vote shall be reduced by any grant amount set forth in the feasibility study agreement that may be executed between the town and MSBA.
Okay, is there discussion, please, Sharon? Oh, yeah, okay, excuse me, Sharon, let me recognize the advisory board first, please.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes, Mr. Spring.
because this is a debt exclusion for 1 year, the fact that it raises taxes yet again, unfortunately, this is coming at a time when we have already gone and talked about raising 505. The advisory board, because of that particular request earlier, the advisory board unanimously recommends a vote of no on this at this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Sharon, you're up.
Sharon Manty, 16 Manty Court. I have a quick question here. I thought I heard Julie read 17 South Road, and on mine it says Crow Hill. I want to know, is that Crow Hill site etched in stone? It is etched in stone, okay. And on here, I also like to know, it's mentioned in the feasibility study. It says, how much is in that feasibility study? This is only a portion. It says, connection with feasibility study, excess of any grant approved. I'd like to know how much is the total of that feasibility study. Since this is only the schematic design, can anybody tell me the total, please?
Okay, cool. Go ahead, try and respond to this, please.
Thank you. Hello, I'm John Winokur from Strategic Building Solutions, the owner's project manager for the town of Templeton on this project. We've been working with you for the last 5 years since this process began. In 2009, approximately, you were one of the very first districts in the state invited into the new Massachusetts School Building Authority program when they opened this program to the Commonwealth. It was a recognition that the needs of your elementary schools were some of the neediest in all of the state. Since that time, you had originally allocated a set amount of funds for the feasibility study and schematic study portion, the first two portions of the process. $550,000 was allocated in 2009. Of that, approximately $300,000 has been expended evaluating the existing buildings, studying other sites, either donated or to be purchased throughout the community, evaluating the educational program space needs. Of that, 60% of all those expenditures are given back by the state. That's how much you're eligible for. You are nearing the conclusion of the feasibility study, this preliminary evaluation phase. A parcel of land was recently recognized and to be transferred by DCAM, the Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance, for the exclusive use of building an elementary school on that site to address your needs into the future. The state's evaluated your enrollment projections for the next 10 plus years to make sure that you don't overbuild anything nor underbuild. And with that, in order to complete the process with the state to fully evaluate what it would cost to really build a school out on that parcel of land, you need to complete the schematic design portion. What's before you today is the funding authorization for an additional $500,000, $300,000 of which will be paid by the state. The MSBA will contribute towards that, but $500,000 is the total amount of the cost of that, so $200,000 for all of you. And that will allow you to have a full understanding of the building, what it would look like, what the materials would be, and the exact costs of building that building before it comes before the voters.
Thank you. Virginia? Guess you were next.
I would urge the town to vote yes on this article. The MSBA is willing to provide right now 60% reimbursement for this project if we go forward with this now. This level of reimbursement will probably never be offered again. If this comes up later on, it's going to move down to a 30 or 40% reimbursement. And if this town is truly concerned with the best use of our funds, then this deal is one that we really can't pass up. We are in desperate need of a new elementary school. The old school buildings are falling apart piece by piece, and they are no longer adequate for the type of education that we need to provide. They can't accommodate the technology. This committee has worked very hard with Senator Brewer, the MSBA, and others. We now have the land, and the initial feasibility study is done. In my estimation, we can't afford to pass up this deal.
Thank you, Big One. Sharon, I guess that you're up next, and then Liz was there. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking. Go ahead, Liz. Yeah.
Liz Toth, Gray Road, Templeton. What was read was for South Road in the motion, and so I want to make sure that we're doing this correctly.
I called MSBA. They're the ones that wrote this article so that it would be correct. So the MSBA wrote the article that was presented to you. So they had, the statement of interest that we put in was we had to pick either Baldwinville or Templeton. We picked Templeton Center, and that's why.
Right, okay. That's why it says 17 South Road, because of Templeton Center Elementary School being a portion of, that's where that's located.
And not because it doesn't say Crow Hill.
But see, the feasibility has to be presented to them, and then it will become.
Right, right, there you go.
All right, and just
Thank
to be,
you, Liz.
and just,
All right.
one other thing, just to be
Yeah.
clear, that if we don't do this now, it's going to cost us even more money later on, correct?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Everything's going to cost more later on, Liz. Believe you me, it will. I understand. I'm working on I'll work on the roll. I'm sorry if I'm not taking the exact order, because I apologize for having my back turned to you when I didn't see who sat where, okay? You want to move on down the line? Kenny, move down. You move on the end. These people move on down. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, Sharon, go ahead.
Okay, my question concerns the earlier question that I asked, and the man from the MSBA got up and answered it. And he said that we would be 60% reimbursed. Now, the $300,000 of reimbursement of this schematic cost, how is that reimbursed? Does it go straight to the town, or does it go to the school? How is that money reimbursed, and to whom?
All right, thank you. Do you have an answer for that, Ruth? I don't happen to have one on this one. No, use the mic, please. I can barely hear you. I am getting old and deaf, but I can barely hear you myself.
The MSBA works with schools, not with towns. Because we're a regional district, the MSBA reimbursements will come to the school district. We then turn that money directly over to the town. The town people will have to answer what happens with the reimbursement after that. My understanding is it's applied to the future payments, because you really only need to raise $200,000. You don't have to go and take out a bond for $500. You only have to take it out for the $200,000 that is the town's responsibility. We're trying to get donations. If in fact we get donations, that $200,000 will be reduced even more. I think maybe the town administrator has to answer that question.
Okay, thank you. All right, ma'am, you're next. Ma'am? Oh, yeah. No, that's all right. Here, we'll take it. Do you want to answer that question, Mr. Merkel? I'm sorry, ma'am.
I think the superintendent is absolutely correct. The funds, the reimbursement funds come to the town. The town then applies them towards debt and interest payments. So.
Okay. All right, yeah, it's your turn. Name and address, please.
Tara Cap, South Road.
My family has lived in town for the past 12 years. My husband and I have 5 children who all go to the Narragansett schools. We have twin girls who are seniors and 3 boys in grades 11th, 9th, and 4th. My family is in full support of a new elementary school, even though our children will not benefit from one. We will continue to support the town because a new school will only improve this town in so many ways. There are many wonderful families here, and I do not want to see any of them leave because of the schools. We all know the schools are very old and that they are in poor condition. It is shameful that we can't even provide for any handicapped children, and why should our students have to wait until middle school to experience gym class in a real gym? We have to bus the students over to the high school to take a state-required test because Baldwinville can't meet the accommodations needed to take this test. Also, we are failing our children because we can't even teach them the way so many other towns are. We are not preparing our students for the future, and this is very concerning. We are a community, and we need to take care of one another. Let's not give up on any opportunities for Templeton's children. We want them to succeed in life, and that has to start at an early age. So it is time to make a change and continue with the elementary school project. It is also important to note that this town will be reimbursed 60% of this project by the state. This is crucial to keep in mind, especially all the families on a fixed income. Please join me today and in the future and vote yes for our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, sir?
Matt Searing, 25 French Road. I had the opportunity to take a tour of the Baldwinville Elementary School last weekend during the open house. In just one word, if I had to describe it, deplorable. Some key points that I jotted down following the tour. The building was built in 1923 and as such 90 plus years old. The building is not handicapped accessible. The electrical system is ancient and cannot support the electrical demands of today's technology. There is one women's bathroom with apparently 35 plus female staff working in that building. Water damage from the leaky roof recently, it's evident throughout the building. Classrooms are cramped, prohibiting teachers from creating a learning environment that's necessary in 2014. The days of sitting behind a desk for 7 hours, those days are gone.
Yep.
Heating cannot be regulated. I was sweating as I went through the tour. And lastly, do you think that those examples there are conducive to a learning environment?
Okay.
In my mind, they're not. We've buried our heads in the sand for long enough and for years now. It's our responsibility to step up and approve this new school.
Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead, yeah. Name and address, please.
Ben Gagnon, 249 Gray Road, Templeton. I just need a moment of your time. I'm just about a lifelong resident of Templeton, and I was asked just recently, why did I move back? And after I had relocated for the previous 3 years, my answer was, without hesitation, I love this town. I moved back for the same reason that my parents moved to Templeton in the 80s. Point blank, it's a great place to raise kids, as I'm sure most of you all would say the same. Templeton offers so much, but we're at a point right now where the kids are being limited. They're being held back. They're being held back from being innovators. Templeton desperately needs to give our children a fighting chance in a 21st century world, and it all starts at school. A school where every student has a chance, a school where safety and health are not a concern, a school where an education is limitless, a school that a community can be proud of. Now let's give our children the same opportunity and reasons to say that Templeton is a great place to raise kids. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Joe Anacone.
Leave it on after when you pass it on, just leave it on. Don't bother to shut it on and off. We'll save a little bit of seconds here.
I live at 197 Farnsworth Road. Let me preface this by saying that I know things are bad. The town is in dire need of help and reorganization, so I understand. June 23rd, 2003. I don't expect that date to mean a lot to anybody in here, but that's the day I became a proud citizen of this town and this great place to live. My wife and I, newlyweds at the time, purchased our first home. And why do we choose Templeton, you ask? Aside from the small town charm, we were told, you're going to love it here. It's a great place to raise family, and they're building a new school. That was 11 years ago.
We do love it here, and it is a great place to raise a family. But imagine my surprise and dismay to stand here today begging for a new school that my kids won't even have a chance to attend. So you might ask, why am I supporting a school that my kids won't even benefit from? The answer is simple. It's the same reason I support the EMTs, the fire department, the police department, the cemetery department, the highway crew. The town needs it. It's good for the town. It's not asking for anything unreasonable. Even if the new school passes, my kids won't benefit from it. I have twin 3-year-olds that won't see it.
Yeah, you mentioned that before.
Yep.
Yes, I understand that. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not a great public speaker. I apologize. The debate for a new school has been waged, as I understand it, for roughly 30 years. The only thing that's changed is the condition of the schools. You can argue the town isn't ready, the town can't afford it, and so on. But when will it be? How long do we have to wait? The fact is, the town of Templeton has had 91 years to work on this school. There's no excuse. There's only accountability. I have a daughter in Templeton Center. I have 2 more daughters. And I visit my oldest daughter's classroom very often. I see firsthand the conditions the students learning, the resources the teachers have, and the staff that the staff has available, and quite frankly, it's disgraceful. Other towns have iPads and computers. My daughter's class has a cassette player. When's the last time anybody listened to a cassette? I hear people complain that the schools are always asking for money, teachers are overpaid, and I think it's absurd. The teachers and the staff in the schools do a great job with what they have, and this isn't about the teachers and the budgets. It's about the kids. It always has been, and it always should be. Our kids need a school, not a museum. The town is in a tough spot. The school's in a tough spot. It's time to rip off the Band-Aid and fix what's broken. I may not be a townie. I wasn't born and raised here. But my kids are townies, and so are yours. Our kids and grandkids shouldn't have to clean up a mess that's already 30 years in the making. We owe it to them to fix the schools and the town now. I wasn't born here, but this is my town. As a friend and a neighbor, I'm asking everyone here to put aside their petty arguments, stop nickel and diming our kids and shortchanging each other. Look at the big picture. The reasons the children need a new school far outweigh any reasons that you might have that they don't. Do the right thing for the future and stop doing things the way they've always been, because clearly they're not working.
All right, Mr. Robinson.
Sorry, Ken Robinson again. I'll stay in my seat for the remainder of the meeting. But just 2 quick points that I wanted to point out, again, addressing issues that I've heard leading up to this meeting. One, I've heard from a lot of people, the schools were fine when I went there several years ago. They should be fine for our kids. Our kids don't need state-of-the-art technology to learn, which is true. What we are asking for is not state-of-the-art technology. We are asking from a school where you can plug in a computer without frying the entire building's electrical system. And this is true. Currently, the students, to take computer-based testing that's required by the state, have to be bused, which we all pay for, have to be bused here, because if you plugged in the number of computers necessary to take the tests, all of Baldwinville's electrical circuitry would burn out. So, and that's true. You can't even plug in a computer in the school, let alone, we're not talking about buying the computers, we're talking about just having the ability to use them if we get them someday. The second big thing that I want to point out, I think this is the most important thing, we have already spent $500,000 roughly on this project and more than a decade of time on this. If we vote no now, that's it. It's not that we'd come back and we're going to get the same deal that we have now. We're going to end up with yet another project in this town that we've spent $500,000 on, $1 million on, and have nothing to show for it. That's what will happen if we vote this down. I think we should take the opportunity to vote yes and secure that 60% reimbursement from MSBA. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Kim Godwin, 491 Baldwinville Road, and I'm the technology literacy teacher here at Narragansett Middle School. As has been stated, students have been bussed up here, are going to have to be bussed up here to take the park assessment. It's a state and federally mandated test which must be taken on computers, which means the children at our elementary schools, when this test becomes mandatory in 2 years, will be taken out of the learning environment where they learn the best, where they test the best, and our schools are now going to be forced to put them in an unfamiliar environment, which is not going to yield the best test results, which is going to bring more problems, which will offset all the work that we've done in the last several years to improve the education for our students. We need an opportunity for our students to have access to the technology that is no longer some magical thing that we had, once a month when we were in school because it was really cool and neat. This is what's going to equalize them with the rest of the children in Massachusetts and in the United States, so that when they leave here, college or career ready, they will truly be college or career ready because they will have the technological access and the learning. I can guarantee you the kids coming into the school are between 2 and 4 years behind with regards to technology. Schools less than 25 miles away are teaching coding in middle school, web development, teaching these students how to access the technology that our adult world is using. Our kids need to be taught how to type. Some of the kids come up never having had the exposure because it's not available at school. And we know not all the families can afford it, so the school is responsible for helping with that deficit. We can't do that, and we need to be able to. We need a new elementary school for thousands of reasons, but as the technology teacher, we need our kids coming up to us, being ready to go, so that they can have the best opportunities when they leave us after 12th grade. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dennis?
Yeah, Bob Dennis, Liberty Street, Art River. Looking at the bond payment that we paid for the school feasibility study this year, it would only seem like, it was under $1,000. It was $800 and something dollars, so I think that's a small price to pay to educate our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. I appreciate your work. Mr. Chartier?
Yeah, Richie Chartier, Baltimore Road. Right now, I'm against it because I think we're in so much trouble now that we should take step one first before we do step two.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, Jim Mason, 95 Elm Street. That was kind of my point. We're talking about technology, cassette players, and yet the article deals with building a new school. What we should do is probably discuss building the new school. My question is, I went to Baldenville Elementary School. I went to this very school I graduated from. I've been around for a while. I realize the schools are in terrible condition. How did they get in terrible condition? We got a budget to maintain them. That's aside from building a new school, people. Why aren't we maintaining our buildings? I asked the superintendent possibly on that.
All right.
We do
I understand the question.
Okay.
All right, I understand the question. Number one, let me clarify a point, if I might, okay? The regional school district is to provide the teachers, the educational material, and what have you. It is the town of Templeton's responsibility to maintain the building on a separate appropriation, okay, not by an appropriation given to the Narragansett Regional School District. Okay, we own the building like Phillipston owns their building. It's their responsibility to maintain their building. Am I right, Dan, or wrong? Okay, thank you. And the town has let them down in the sense that over the years, we have not brought that building up to standard or up to code as far as I'm concerned, and that's where we're at.
Okay, point well taken. I redirect my question to the town. Okay. Why is the town negligent in maintaining these buildings?
I haven't the project, the town has, excuse me, time. Thank you. All right. The town has had several articles brought to them over the years to help repair and maintain our school system. And several articles that I have been present for have been voted down, such as a new roof or a new boiler, blah, 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 or what have you. It's not the school's fault that we, the town, did not vote those funds like we should have to help maintain those buildings like we should have over the years. For that, I can't answer anything beyond that, but I can tell you that's what has happened at various previous town meetings.
As I stated, why are we in this situation then? It's unacceptable to have an elementary school with a 1950s electrical system.
I understand it. I'll agree with you 100% on that as well.
And why can't we do anything about it? That's my biggest question.
Right, okay. It's too late now, it's gone past, I think. All right, thank you for your input, I appreciate your input, thank you. Okay, look, all right. Whoa, I've got other people sitting over here. Thank you. Paul, move all the way on down, would you? Paul, move all the way on down. I don't want to make you get up and down again, okay?
You want it filled up again, right?
That's okay, thanks.
Nice. Carrie Collusion, 142 Gray Road, Templeton. I could stay up here, I have a whole speech to give, but instead I'm just going to speak from my heart. I've been on this committee for 9 years now. My role in this committee has changed. Everybody knows my opinion. I have girls, 3 girls in this town. My husband and I, we grew up here. We still have family that reside in the town of Templeton. I've been on this committee, and like some people that have spoken before me, which I thank you so much for all your support, because we really have worked hard in trying to get this new school for these kids. My children, my 3 girls, will never step foot as a student in the classroom. But I'm going to stay firm on my commitment to this town, which my grandmother instilled in me before she had passed away. And one of her values is to stay together and to keep our family together. But I consider the town of Templeton my family as well. No matter the age, no matter our generations, we need to do what's good for the people of this town. And I think the town administrator that spoke before, you did such a fantastic job. And I think you're probably one of the first steps of getting this town to be back together as a community. We need to all work together. Okay, well, I'm not one much for personalities, but I just want to say that I am committed to this project 100%. I live in this town, I'm a taxpayer, so I understand the value that we don't want to spend a ton of money. And we're not looking for the bells and whistles of the new town that's going to be built. We want a school that's going to bring our kids together as a community, pre-K through 5, where the kids can all grow, where the preschool kindergarten teachers can see the seedlings of the kids and watch them bloom and flourish as, learners when they're in 5th grade. They miss that opportunity right now because the kids are only with them for kindergarten, 1st grade before they have to be shipped over to a new school. And that's not how an elementary education program should work. There should be a lot of community building, a lot of kids working together. So I just want people to put the money aside because to me, priceless is education. Our kids are priceless, their safety is priceless, and we need to think about when we send our kids off to these schools, are you 100% confident that where they are, it's the best place for them right now? Because it's not. It's truly not, and I just want you to follow your heart, and we can't let these kids down. We're speaking for them. We need to do justice for them. They're not here, they can't vote. We're deciding their fate, so we need to look in the mirror and make sure that we're making the best decision for these kids in this town because they 100% deserve it.
Okay, thank you. Paul?
Mr. Moderator, Paul Quattrochi, 2 Military Drive. About 12 years ago, I was on the Board of Selectmen, and this process was started. The state told us that if we did certain things, that they would reimburse us a good amount of the school. It's taken this long to get where we are. Now I'm looking at a bunch of faces out there. 99% of you have gone through this school system. It's served its purpose, but it's time for something new. We have a responsibility to build a new school. Whether we have children in it or not is immaterial. We have that responsibility, and we can't ignore it. And it's going to cost us money, and we can't ignore that either. Mr. Moderator, I move the question.
Is there a second to that? Okay, there's been a motion to move the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Yeah, okay. Okay, we are now going to vote on this article. All those in favor of Article 6, please signify by saying yes. Yes. All those opposed? No. I think the yeses have it. Even though we yell a little louder, Article 6 passes at 12:52. Article 7.
The fire department gave it to
Article
us.
7. Is there an Article 7?
Oh, don't leave people. Well, there were a lot of non-voters.
There's what?
The people leaving are non, mostly.
Seven
is good?
fine. Do
Okay.
you want to read 7?
Sure, is it my?
We are making
Yep,
sure
sorry.
we have the right one.
Did you call? Article 7. Move that the town administrator be hereby authorized to enter into a 5-year lease purchase agreement for an equipped ambulance for the fire department, and that $57,000 be hereby appointed to fund the first year of such lease purchase agreement. And to meet this appropriation, such sum be transferred from the receipts reserved for appropriation account number 22-300-3560-3283 ambulance receipts.
Second.
Do we have, yes.
There has been a motion made and seconded that we enter into a lease, we allow the town administrator to enter into a lease agreement.
Mr. Moderator.
Yes.
You can't, we already read the motion, she has to wait.
You're talking about Article 6. You want to reconsider which article?
The one that just passed. Technically, we have an hour.
All right, there's been a,
Yeah, we have to wait.
I have it noted here. We will take that up after we complete Article 7.
Mr. Moderator.
Do you understand what I said?
Mr. Moderator.
Did you understand what I said? I said that we would bring that up after we finished Article 7, okay? Thank you.
Mr. Moderator.
Put it in writing.
After reviewing the fact that it was coming out of the ambulance reserve receipts fund and has no tax impact to the community, the advisory board unanimously recommends a yes vote.
Okay, thank you. Now, we're talking about Article number 7. Is there any discussion on Article 7? Mr. Columbus, would you like to get up and speak, please? Will you switch that over? Is it, there's a switch on the top of the slides to the left and right.
Oh, now, it work now?
Got it now? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes, Bob.
I got a question and then a comment.
Okay.
The question is, does anyone know what the balance is in that account for the ambulance fees?
At this particular moment, I'm not sure. Hang on. Ray, do you have an answer to this question? Do you have an idea about how much is in that reserve account right now that they're talking to take about 57,000 out of? How much is in there? That's what they want to know, number one. Approximately.
Highway Report, Fire Chief. We had a balance in the beginning of this year of $25,000 in that account that rolled over from last year. We projected $180,000 last year for total income from it, and the decision was made to go with $160,000 out of the receipts reserved and $20,000 out of taxation. So the actual amount is about $15,000 to $19,000 a month that we've gone for increased revenue.
Well, what do we have for a balance right now, Ray, in the account? Do we have 110, 120, 150?
I'm not sure what the exact amount is right now. I could calculate it roughly.
Give or take within a few bucks, yeah.
It's about $19,000 a month since the start of the last fiscal year, plus $25,000.
So that'd be close to about $180,000, I would guess, approximately. No? Yeah, Bob, okay?
Yeah, Mr. Moderator, and I'd like to make a comment. I didn't say it first. Bob Columbus, 17 Main Street. I served several terms on the Board of Selectmen in several of those years.
Quiet out there, that's enough. I don't want to hear another word out of anybody like that. What the hell's the matter with you people? Excuse me.
In those...
Mr. Columbus, I'd like to apologize for that. You didn't...
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
I'm very sorry for that.
But anyway, I was also on the capital planning committee for several years. And part of the capital planning committee's job was to put forward capital items. This is one of them. I believe this one that they want to replace is 10 years old. We looked at trying to replace an ambulance for the last 5 or 6 years on and off, so it's well overdue. I think it's 10 years old. Chief can verify that, but that's one of, pardon me? I stand corrected, it's 14 years old. And like he said, these ambulances bring in money on the ambulance service. And so I recommend a yes vote for this.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Columbus. We appreciate it. Once again, I'd like to apologize. Mr. Q.
I'm back again. I still live on Military Drive.
Yes.
My question is, why is the town administrator doing the lease? We've elected town officials to do that, not a town administrator. I think that's inappropriate. I don't feel that he should be responsible for that. I think they should.
Okay, according to the information that I have received, he is a chief procurement officer for the town of Templeton, and it would be appropriate for him to enter into a leasing agreement because of him being the chief procurement officer, Paul.
Well, maybe so. I don't agree with it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Do you want to speak on this particular article? No. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
George White, Turner Lane in East Templeton. Is this $57,000 per year for 5 years?
That's what it sounds like to me, George.
So that comes to like $260,000. What would it cost to buy an ambulance?
Hold it. We can't hear the answer. If the question was, what would it cost to buy an ambulance today? Your answer to what it would cost to buy the ambulance today would be?
The ambulance value today in cost would incur, in this article, sorry, is $285 is what was proposed at $57,000 for 5 years. It also includes a LifePak 15 defibrillator monitors for part of the initial purchase toward ALS, which will generate additional revenue when we go to ALS.
But what would it?
And what would it cost today? If you went out to buy it today, would it be $100?
The one proposed is $285.
$285,000 if we went out to buy it today.
Yeah.
Well, today, George, that answer your question? Okay, put the mic back on the stand there, Ray. Behind you. The stand behind you. Thank you. All right. Is there any other questions? I guess not. Okay, let's take a vote on this. All those in favor may signify by saying yes. Yes. All those opposed? Okay, motion passes at 1:01 p.m. Okay, now there has been a motion to reconsider Article number 6. One moment, we will deal with that. That was Article 7, right?
Yeah, do you know what I think made all the difference with the presentation from the town administrator right at the beginning? It showed that we weren't just talking out of our asses, which is what we often do. That was very positive, and that the school had everyone here that could answer every pointed question that they had. I mean, I think, and being honest with people and telling them, like, look, we have a whole new team, new people.
Okay, now, there is a motion been made and seconded to reconsider Article number 6. Now, we are only only going to discuss the merits of reconsideration. We are not going to discuss the motion itself. You do understand that? Okay? And I would like for it to be in writing, please. Okay, now is there anybody who would like to speak on this reconsideration? Say that again. What reconsideration means to the townspeople is the fact that we are going to reconsider the article as to whether you do want to vote for that article and for that school or that elementary appropriation, or you do not want to. You cannot discuss the article. You can discuss the merits of why you don't think you had enough discussion or so on and so forth. You may want to say something like that, but you cannot discuss the article itself under reconsideration. Okay? Is that appropriate now? Is that what you want? Okay, does everybody understand? We are asking to reconsider that article and to revote that. If you vote in favor of reconsideration, that means we would go back to Article 6, and we would discuss Article 6 all over again, and then we would revote Article 6. Do you understand that? Is that clear? Okay, so if you vote to approve reconsideration, then we would have to go back and rediscuss Article number 6 in its entirety. Okay, is that understandable? All right, now then, now that I have asked that question, and I don't see any discussion on this motion, I will ask, does anybody wish to reconsider articles? Those in favor of wishing to reconsider this article, please signify by saying yes. Those opposed to reconsideration, please signify by saying yes. Okay, you're opposed to it. You don't want to go back, correct? Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not clear on this. All right. Do we want to reconsider Article number 6? All those? Okay. Thank you. That's very clear. At 1:04 p.m. Thank you very much. What do I want to give you?
There's no Article 8?
Right there, at the bottom of your sheet.
And I
No,
gave you
is
Article
there no
7,
8
right?
though?
Oh, this one.
Now I guess we're up to Article,
that's it.
This is
Article 8, please.
So read this one.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
He called for it.
Did he call for it? Okay, sorry, I can't really read this.
Article 8, please. Is there an Article 8?
Yep.
Move that the treasurer, who is appointed by the Board of Selectmen, be authorized to act as collector and to be assisted by an assistant treasurer appointed by the Board of Selectmen, subject to the town voting by ballot question pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 1, to authorize its treasurer to act as collector.
Second.
God bless you. Okay, is there discussion on this motion?
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Advisory Board, Mr. Spring.
Yes. The advisory board had looked at a number of communities, about 30 communities, about the same size as Templeton. What we found was that 80% of them, or over 80% of them, had the combined position. So based upon that and the fact that we see that it will get a closer working relationship between those, and that there is a potential to take and save some money in the next year, the advisory board unanimously recommends a yes vote.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Columbus.
Mr. Moderator, Bob Columbus, 17 Main Street. If this were to pass, when would this change take effect?
It would have to be approved by the Attorney General first, so whatever length of time it would take to be approved by him, and then it would become effective, I guess. Is that okay?
So it possibly could be prior to July 1?
Well, that's possible, yeah, I don't know that. I don't know what the Attorney General's schedule is.
That's going to ballot.
What the rules would
Ballot
be.
question. On the ballot.
It's a ballot question? Has to go on the ballot. Has to go on the ballot, Bob. Passes today, we'll have to go on to a ballot, okay?
All right, yeah, I got something else to say.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Also, well, this is an important change in personnel. It's important, I think it needs to be done, but however, I feel that a question such as this should be on the annual town meeting. And I would suggest voting it down now to put on the annual. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comment. Go ahead, Virginia. Yeah, you're up.
I have two things. I would urge you to look at the fact that the Mass General Law that you cited probably isn't, for the adoption of consolidated departments of municipal finance, it's 43C, Section 11. So I don't know if you want to change that in your article.
That's for a finance director?
It's for consolidating departments of municipal finance.
That's not what's being proposed.
Okay. And for the last couple of years, the blame for a large portion of the budgetary problems in our town has been attributed to what the selectmen have deemed to be an unsatisfactory job performance in the treasurer's office. What makes you think that if the treasurer's job has been a full-time job that in your estimation has not been successfully completed by anyone in recent years to your satisfaction, that putting someone in there part-time will be better serving the town? You want to move 2 full-time plus 2 part-time people down to 2 full-time people. I don't understand how that's going to help.
Mr. Robinson, would you care to address that?
Sure, I can address that. Based on the town's budgetary concerns, we found ourselves in a situation where we really offer bottom-of-the-barrel pay for these positions, not for what necessarily compared to what we make or whatnot, but in order to attract people that have, bachelor's degrees in accounting or CPAs that have the requisite experience, it's really hard to do that when you start someone out managing a $15 million budget and you want to pay them $30,000 a year. It's very difficult to get people to do that. By combining these two positions together, what we can do is we can bump up the pay of whoever that person is and still save money because we're paying less people. So if it's someone who currently works for the town that we think would do a great job, they would have a pay incentive to take this position that is a combined position. So if it's someone that already works for the town, great, they can make more money and have that incentive to do the job. If no one that currently works for the town wants to do the position, we have the ability to be more competitive with other local towns in securing talent to come here to Templeton so that we don't go through, as we have had, a half a dozen treasurers in 3 years, so that doesn't happen again, and we can give some stability. So that's our goal, I believe.
Okay, thank you very much. All those in favor of Article 8, please signify by saying yes. Yes. All those opposed? Article 8 passes. Article 9, please, it passes at 110. Article 9, please.
Article 9. Move that the votes adopted by the town pursuant to Articles 23 and 24 of the May 14th, 2013 annual town meeting be confirmed and ratified to transfer a total of $170,000 from retained earnings in the Sewer Department Enterprise Fund to pay for the costs associated with the town's application for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts revolving fund loan necessary for the abandonment of the wastewater treatment lagoon and to pay for the purchase of a used sludge handling truck.
Second.
There's been a motion made and seconded. Do I see any discussion?
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Spring.
The advisory board recommends unanimously a vote of yes.
Do I see any further discussion? Seeing,
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
I have a question about the wording of the articles. I know this was not proposed by the sewer commissioners. This came on the recommendation from the Department of Revenue, that the money that was voted at the May town meeting for these two purposes, for these two articles, had not been certified by the DOR. So this vote recertifies those votes.
Okay.
My question to the sewer department is, 35,000 of the 170 was to pay for a sludge hauling truck. The 135,000 was to pay for the lagoon sludge characterization. I would like to know if the sewer department is pursuing the lagoon sludge characterization. Do they need that money? Are they expending that money? Have they purchased the sludge hauling truck?
Is there anybody here who can answer this? Mr. Machete, are you here anywhere? Can you answer the question? I am? She directed the question to the sewer department. Are you representing the wrong one? Okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Dennis, can you answer the question? Can somebody answer the question, please? Let's get on with this. Oh, yeah, he's planning board. His brother's on sewer.